welcome back to Disrupting Diabetes. First of all, I'd just like to thank everyone who has subscribed to the channel and also liked and shared and some of the comments, people that have commented, really appreciate that. And I'd love to hear from anyone who is going down this lifestyle track with diet and exercise and a bit of fasting. Love to hear from you, and we'll also love to get you on the channel and chat about how things are going and if you're having success. For those of you that are first time watchers, please subscribe. And just a quick backstory on my story. I was diagnosed in early January, basically from an optometrist. And between the optometrist, he basically said, I've got diabetes. He said, go and get a blood test. From there, it was probably a 5-day turnaround from blood test to see my doctor. And I dove straight into this and see if there was, cure or way of reversing type 2 diabetes. And I did a lot of research in that time. And when I got to the doctor, he told me that I had severe type 2 diabetes. Asked him, can this be reversed with diet? And he flat out said to me straight away, no, it can't be. So from there, based on what I'd seen, I got out of that consultation and I was pretty devastated, but also I was a bit pissed off about it because in those 5 days, the research I'd done, there was people that are reversing this type 2 diabetes, and that was through purely changing the lifestyle. And that included mainly diet, a bit of exercise, a bit of fasting and cutting down alcohol, things like that. But so I decided to not take any of his the medication he's prescribed and continue my research and then go down the track of trying to put this in, reverse it, put it in remission, whatever you want to call it, just purely through change of lifestyle. So one of the first guys that I gained a lot of information was a doctor called Ken Berry. He's out of America, and he mainly goes down the carnivore diet, and he's actually wrote a book. It was called Lies My Doctor Told Me. So Ken was just a typical GP, getting his patients in and prescribing the usual medication for whatever the problems were, and a lot of them were diabetics, obviously. And that was, your usual medication, your metformins, insulin, whatever. And what happened with Ken is he actually noticed that he started to put on a bit of weight too, and he actually got diagnosed with pre-diabetes. And at the time, he was carrying a lot of weight. So he thought to himself, I've got to maybe get myself into shape. I can't go telling these people to change their lifestyle a bit, and I'm here sitting overweight myself. So he went down the conventional track of losing weight with counting calories and the typical, massive amounts of exercise and calories in, calories out, low fat, high fiber diet. And I'm not sure, it might have been the timeline, might have been 3-6 months, whatever it was. And he actually started to put weight on, and his diabetes was getting worse. So he come across the carnivore diet. So from there he started to notice a lot of changes to his general health, and among them was obviously weight, but also he reversed his pre-diabetes. And from there he passed a lot of this information on to his patients, and over a series of months they started to come back in and they were not only reducing their weight, but they were also getting great results with, obviously, diabetes. They were reducing that, and a lot of them had kidney issues and high blood pressure and all PCOS, all sorts of issues that they were basically reversing. From there, he actually went, I think he said 2018, he went public with it on YouTube, and from there he's got a great following now and very big in America, and he's been great. I owe him a lot because I've followed him, and he's very reassuring, and I am getting a lot of the results that he said I'd get. So if you're out there listening, Ken, thank you very much. But pretty outspoken guy, and he's actually tried to make contact with Australian Diabetes Association basically follows everything the American Diabetes Association does. So he's tried to actually make contact with the American Diabetes Association and, you know, try and tell them about it, and he's got nothing from them. He's got no replies or nothing, and he's even like, he's gone onto some of their YouTube channels and tried to make a comment, and I was watching one the other day, they don't even allow you to make a comment on their YouTube channel. So what Ken's done with a group of other doctors, and there's endocrinologists and some dietitians, just people that are having great success with patients and, you know, getting remission from diabetes. They've formed their own, it's called the American Diabetes Society, and they're basically going to go not head to head, but just go completely in a different direction to what the American Diabetes and the Australian Diabetes Association is doing. That they're basically going to give you recipes that are low carb, give you information that is going to help people, and it's not money driven. They've actually raised, well, last time I looked, they'd raised $100,000 for the startup, and it's a non-profit thing, obviously, and they're just out there to get the word out that this can be put into remission and it can be reversed. It's not a death sentence, and this is the reason I'm doing this. Like I said, if I question everything, and if I didn't, I would have went down the track of most people who are getting diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and that's just, you're on medication and you try to manage it, and from there you progressively, the disease will get worse because, well, the way it's managed, and injecting insulin, your body's full of insulin as it is, you're insulin resistant, and from there all these chronic diseases will start. Neuropathy, I've got that. Retinopathy, I had it, I've reversed that. My blood pressure's high, I've got that down. Weight, insulin's a fat storage hormone, and you will put weight on by putting more insulin into your body. From there you got heart disease. Now they're calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. My father was diagnosed with that. All these progressive diseases don't need to happen. We can actually, it's proven, and I'm hoping to prove this, and that's why I'm doing this video. This can be put into remission and reverse, and everyone can get on, which I'm hoping to do, get on with a normal life. And all it is a way of, basically just a way of eating, and back that up with some exercise. You don't have to train every day, just a bit of movement, and stop this sedentary lifestyle and basically process high processed carbohydrates that we're just over consuming. So this is a map of projected increase in cases of diabetes around the world in the next 25 years, and you'll see it's pretty frightening. Like in Africa and Middle East, like Africa, they're predicting 134% increase in cases, in Middle East, North Africa 87%. And the reason they're so high is obviously these countries are underdeveloped and they haven't quite got to our way of eating. So this is a table of all the countries, the diabetes rates per country. So the highest there is Pakistan, and you see in the top 10, 6 of those countries are actually Pacific Islands, which is quite concerning. What's happened to them? Obviously, they're becoming more modernised, and if their traditional diet obviously would have been a lot of fish, meat, and homegrown vegetables, obviously. So they've become more modernised, and they obviously would have did a lot of movement. So a population that's hidden away in those tables is the indigenous populations of certain countries, mainly Australia and New Zealand, North America, Canada, and statistics are showing with them that they're nearly 3 times more likely to contract diabetes than the rest of the population. So that's showing you that changes in diets, this is not a genetic disease, it's a dietary disease. Basically, these people pre-Western food or eating Western food, they wouldn't have had diabetes, or type 2 diabetes. It wouldn't have been around, purely because they were eating whole, well, as Ken Berries calls it, a proper human diet, food that we are meant to eat, where nothing's processed. So these people now are coming into our Western diets, and diabetes is just rocketing through the roof with them. So a group of Aboriginals, Australian Aboriginals, with the help of a white man, Charlie McMahon, were setting up a reservation back in their native lands, which about 700 kilometres from Alice Springs. And two of the Aboriginals walked out one day and actually stumbled across 9 Aboriginals, two women and 7 children, who had just basically been living the traditional life, the nomadic life of the Australian Aboriginal, and had no idea that Australia had even been settled by white man or whatever. And there's a bit of a confrontation. They took off, the 9, and the guys come back and then ended up going out and tracking them down, I think 2 days later, and through a series of events convinced them to come back to their settlement. And it wasn't till the second day that they gained the confidence to actually introduce them to the white fella. And obviously they would have been, well, probably in shock, I presume, when they've seen their first white man. But it was interesting to read how they gained the confidence of them. And you can read here, it says, McMahon did not want to put the group under any pressure to join the community, but he witnessed a moment when they were persuaded. It was unthinkable that they would stay out there because the modern world was so seductive. One of the fellows suggested, give them a taste of sugar and they'll be in for sure. Indeed, the taste of sugar had a big impact on the Tupi 9, and it is this aspect of the story which now animates them most. I tasted sugar. We didn't know what it was, but it was so sweet. I tasted the sugar and it tasted so sweet, like the cullen flower. My mother tasted it and it was so sweet. It was good. And then later on in the article, it reads, you see here, when they come out of the desert, they were examined by a doctor and found to be incredibly fit and healthy, without an ounce of fat. But in Aboriginal communities of Western Australia, diabetes and obesity are rife. So based on these articles and statistics and, these doctors that are going against the norm, it's quite easy to see that you are what you eat. And if you put the wrong food into your body will basically tell you will become sick. Your body's designed to heal itself. If you cut yourself or, you get flu or anything like that, your body will heal itself, but you have to give it the right food to heal itself. And for me, the results I'm getting, what I'm doing is not what people would say conventional, but it's just back to basics and eating what we're designed to eat. If you look at the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating, you'll see they want you to eat grains, foods, mostly whole grain or high cereal fibre varieties. So they're telling you there to eat 3 or 4 times more of that sort of, well, a lot of it's even in packets. It's basically garbage as opposed to meats, but they're telling you here to eat lean meats. For me, I follow basically this food pyramid, which is plenty of healthy fats. I'm eating a lot of butter. I'm eating heavy cream. I'm eating protein, all sorts of protein, and I don't cut the fat off it. I add fat if anything. Non-starchy vegetables, I'm doing that on what I'm saying. The vegetables I'm eating are mainly fermented vegetables, and that's for the microbiome in my stomach. I'm eating plenty of cheeses, and I haven't got the fruit, but like I said, they're saying berries, and I will try that. But you can see some of the conditions potentially helped by keto diet: obesity, high blood sugar, pre-diabetes, type 1 and 2. Diabetes, traumatic brain injury, epilepsy, Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's, PCOS. These people are getting these results. And for everyone, try it. What's 30 days out of your life? Try it and see what your results, how you feel. I know in the beginning, I suppose, I felt maybe a little bit, I got a little bit of tiredness, but that was probably in the first 2 weeks, but I overcome that, and now my energy levels are great, and I feel great, and my results are coming down. So this is not just for diabetes, this is for all general health. We have to change the way we think about eating food and get back to what we're eating thousands of years ago.